Travis Kelce was a beast out there. I know you appreciate that.
Yes.
A former tight end.
I mean, Kelce, to me, the way he played in the big moments, it was incredible. I can't get over the kicker.
Let's talk
I can't do it.
The kicker costs them just like the Packers.
Yes.
It was the same thing. We talked about this yesterday. And, what do you say? Like,
Jay,
it's almost like this team is literally cursed.
Yes. And my heart breaks. And as you know, I love poking fun at the Bills Mafia. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But I also enjoy great football. And that's what we had. And you look at this Bills team, and hats off to them. All week, what do we talk about? Two days less of rest, prep, the whole thing. What do we talk about? Crazy amounts of injuries on defense. They got enough defensive stops to keep this thing close.
Yep.
They are out here fighting tooth and nail. I mean, Josh Allen's running the ball 2 touchdowns. We saw the one run, super physical. I mean, it was a hard-nosed, looked very cold there, football game. It was a clean football game. Everybody, both sides of the ball for the Bills, doing everything they can. They call a bad fake punt. And what do? The defense stops, gets forced a turnover.
It was incredible.
And it comes down to a 150-pound kicker to make a 44. And I probably will be on you, Blue, because he might weigh a little more than that. But
let's check those stats.
It hurts me. It hurts me for Bills fans. And I'm not trying. I love making fun of kickers. I've said that before. But it's just such a strange game because I know what it's like to sit there and have this just physical showdown against somewhat of a rival where your hopes and dreams are on the line and you do everything you can. And Josh Allen was playing the cleanest football I think I've ever seen him play.
Yep.
And you just want the guy to come out and make the kick, and you're looking at potentially overtime. Who knows what happens. Maybe Mahomes drives the field.
Well, I mean, they left probably too much time on the clock,
yes,
right?
But I mean, come on, man.
Should mention Hound Dog found out Bass is 183 pounds.
There we go.
So there we go. Okay, the thing at the end, that final drive for the Bills leading up to the kick that was missed, they appeared to be playing just to not give Mahomes the ball back, essentially.
Which
right?
I understand. They've been burned before. And Mahomes looked very, very good. And if you're Sean McDermott, you're sitting here thinking, hey, and it's not, I wouldn't say it's getting cute, but you're thinking, Patrick Mahomes is over there. My defense has been run down. This guy's been electric all night. He seems to find a way. Let's try and make it as tough on him as we can. And everything was going well, and they called a great play there. Again, one small detail was Shakir, whether it was he was hit when he threw, maybe he thought Shakir would bend it flatter. We don't know what the coaching points were.
Yeah.
But that moment, that throw to Shakir in the end zone we watched, looks like it could have been the difference. And
Romo said it right when it happened. If they lose this game, this is going to be
haunting.
Right? You have Diggs on a crossing route. He's right there. You could have taken the easy way out. He wanted to win it, right? Allen wanted to win it.
He wanted to win it.
Yeah.
And I will say, Josh Allen, to me, I know the numbers weren't big, but he played incredibly well. What I thought happened was he took all the underneath throws. They were safe, and they moved the chains. I mean, they scored 24 points, should have been 27. And that's including a fake punt ordeal that was an abomination.
Can I ask you about all the fourth down conversions? The fact that they weren't able to get, just that fake punt was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I have played a lot of time on the punt team, all right? So this is generally when you have a fake in. The coach comes in on Wednesday. This week might have been a little different because of they played, late.
Right.
The coach comes in and says, I think we got a great look for a fake punt. And here it is. Bam, he lays it out. It's on the projector. And you're like, okay, this is why it's going to work. Not often do you just have a snap to what they call the personal protector, which is the most, again, this is punt fake 101 here. Yeah. And if you do that, you almost for certain should have crazy numbers of guys who can block versus defenders.
Right.
So what's weird to me is when you call a fake like that in your own territory, you got to feel great about it. There's no way you could have felt great about that. That was one of the riskiest play calls I've seen. Since when has Sean McDermott become Dan Campbell? I'm not sure.
Everybody wants to be Dan Campbell now.
I mean, everybody does. I understand
Sunday.
why.
I get it. So let's talk about this season as a whole for Buffalo. Midway through the year, it looks like they're not even going to make the playoffs. Yeah. Then they go on this run and they win the division. And then they lose once again to the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm having a hard time even now, and I know it's fresh. But how do you view this season for the Buffalo Bills?
To me, I actually, I think coming into the year, you would have thought, hey, Super Bowl or bust.
Yep.
I disagree. I think it's a successful year. let's really sit here and look at what this team did. And trust me, I'd like no better to pile on the Bills, but they were decimated with injuries. Yeah. I thought Sean McDermott did a tremendous job calling this defense. In the middle of the year, they fired their offensive coordinator.
Yes, they did.
Like, these are not things that happen to a team that comes down and loses in the divisional round. These are things that happen to a team that wins 3 total games.
Right.
You know, they find a way to win the division, despite a lot of people, myself included, thinking that that wouldn't happen. And then they get down to it, and they should be theoretically tied with the Kansas City Chiefs with under 2 minutes to play, but a 183-pound kicker can't make the kick. You know, and it never comes down to one play, but I would consider it a very successful season. One of the things, Jay, I think we need to look at if you're a Bills fan is if they bring back Joe Brady at offensive coordinator, which I think they will.
That was going to be my next question. You feel that they should?
I do, and I think that Josh Allen continued to improve in a lot of ways. I thought the offense looked very good tonight. What do they do with Stephon Diggs? Because Stephon Diggs is clearly not the same role he's playing, you know, in Joe Brady's offense. So if you're me right now, again, this is probably a little early, but he did not have great numbers tonight. They didn't focus him like they did before with Dorsey. Stephon Diggs, wildly talented.
Yep.
In my opinion, when you talk about Jamar Chase, you talk about Justin Jefferson, talent-wise, he's in that conversation, in my opinion, without a doubt. So, like, is he a guy you shop around, you know, try and get a huge haul for?
Sure.
Maybe tighten up the defense a little bit? Because offensively, I think they found a very, very nice, you know, kind of rhythm with Joe Brady. The run game, again, looked great. They were spreading the ball around like crazy. Kincaid looked nice. Shakir looked nice. Sherfield had a couple good grabs. I think that this team is very, you know, in a very good spot to be a powerhouse, potentially if they can get healthy on both sides of the ball for years to come.
And I guess that's the best point of all. He could have called it quits earlier in the season, could have made a big trade, could have decided to fold up the tent and look to next year, and they come back and they make it all the way here and it ends this way. And he's always like this after a tough loss. He's so hard on himself.
And again, it's funny that, and he nailed his answers when they're like, you know, the pass game wasn't there. And he said, that's football. They're playing soft zone as they were.
Yeah.
He played exactly how you should play the game. And when he needed to make big plays, he did. You think of the scramble, the touchdown to Shakir. You think of him rushing the ball. This guy did exactly how they draw it up to play football. He did. He took what the defense gave him. This is a good Kansas City defense.
Yep.
They scored 24, should have been 27. Like, come on. He did everything they can. I mean, again, I've been tough on the guy about some of the throws. He didn't make any of those throws.
Right.
You know, there's a few plays, but that happens in the game. I think of the long play to, you know, Diggs that he didn't come down with. That is one of those things where I'm like, man, that would have been a big play. Sure, but like.
But those were big throws, and it was just inches away. Right?
He's done everything. And again, this is for Bills fans. They're going to be shocked that I'm nice to them tonight. But here's my thing that I will say. Yep. I will say this. When you have a season where you are 6-6 and you got to run the table like they did, and you go, and again, you play the Kansas City Chiefs, last year's Super Bowl champions, and you have a game like that, it does create a lot of camaraderie, a lot of brotherhood in that locker room, a great culture. And that can lead to a lot. On the flip side, if you lose a Super Bowl on the half-yard line, it can really destroy the culture. I wouldn't know, of course. I wouldn't know.
Due to maybe a questionable offensive call to pass it instead of hand it off to your
that can really cause some problems.
I can understand why that would be the case in a locker room for sure. You mentioned the Chiefs, Kelce and Mahomes. It's amazing. Like I said, Kelce all year, he's up, he's down.
Yeah.
You know, people are talking about him potentially retiring, and it's amazing how he and Mahomes has come up big again on the road this time.
Amazing.
Yeah,
and
it's awesome.
It's funny. I love the graphic. It was like everyone's like, oh, he's slowing down. He might retire. Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
All of a sudden, cold game, January, on the road. Mahomes apparently couldn't play on the road. That was another narrative going on this week. This guy made so many big plays in this game, especially early, and it was just great to see because you got to respect it. I mean, he's on a graphic with Brady and Gronk, and Montana and Jerry Rice for
crazy.
touchdown in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like this combination, whether you're a Chiefs fan or not, you just got to appreciate how great they've been over this period of time. Travis Kelce was drafted in the same year I was drafted. Okay, I'm on the desk right now. This guy's got 2 TDs today. And I'm not comparing myself to Travis, but I'm saying for age purposes.
Yeah.
That's how long he's been doing it for. And to me, he is like, yes, it's tough to go generation, but Travis Kelce, again, performing, and the team needs it the most. He does it again today. He is the greatest pass-catching tight end of all time.
And all this off the field stuff, and yet he just stays in shape, does it all. And now we got this AFC Championship game. That is going to be terrific in Baltimore. Early line, Ravens favored by 3.5. Initial thoughts on this one. We know how great the Ravens looked yesterday.
Yeah, initial thoughts are definitely pretty heavy Ravens here, but there's just something magical about Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
And I understand he's got to go on the road. I understand it's a very, very tough defense that is not as injured as Buffalo's defense. But I can't sit here and say, I'm counting Patrick Mahomes out. I would definitely lean right now on paper. I would lean towards the Ravens. But I think that's going to be another just great football game with a lot of great plays. And I think Lamar Jackson is also, he's going to be in for, it's a tough situation with the Chiefs defense, but I think he makes a lot of plays too.
And he hears the chatter, for Lamar to beat Mahomes in the AFC Championship will be, that would be solidifying, his greatness in the league. He knows that.
He knows. And talk about, if you're a football fan, how special, like tonight's game was special.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
now you get to see Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's incredible.